More than 22 million Americans are currently unemployed as a result of this. Today we hit the grim milestone of more than 40,000 Americans now having died from the coronavirus. Can you explain then why you come out here and you are reading clips and showing clips of praise for you and for your administration? Is this really the time for self-congratulations?
Well, I will tell you this. What I'm doing is I'm standing up for the men and women that have done such an incredible job. Not for me, for the men and women, admirals, vice president, if I might, but all of the men and women, thousands, tens of thousands of them that built hospitals in New York and New Jersey and all over this country in record time. They'd throw up 1,000 beds in 4 days. I'm sticking up for those people. Those people have been incredible. I'm also sticking up for doctors and nurses and military doctors and nurses.
The clips that you played and what you read earlier was praising you and your administration.
All I played today was Governor Cuomo
to do that, sir.
saying very positive things about the job the federal government has done.
And those people, 40,000 Americans have now died.
And those people have been just absolutely excoriated by some of the fake news, like you, your CNN, your fake news. And let me just tell you, they were excoriated by people like you that don't know any better because you don't have the brains you were born with. You should be praising the people that have done a good job, not doing what you do. Even that question. So just so you understand, if we didn't do a job...
The question is why now, not why are you doing it.
I'll tell you why now. Are you ready? Because these people are right now in hospitals. It's dangerous. It's going to a battlefield. And I want these people, I want you. I want you in the... It's all about that. It's not about me. No, nothing's about me. Look, you're never going to treat me fairly, many of you. And I understand that. I don't even know. I got here with the worst, most unfair press treatment, they say, in the history of the United States for a president. They did say Abraham Lincoln had very bad treatment, too. Let me just tell you.
It has your name in it. It talks about Trump remaking the playbook.
Well, that's a positive thing, and that's good for the future. People can learn from that. But I want the men and women of this country that are in danger, the admirals and the generals that have done a job like they've never done before. They're in war. We're in war. You know, I call it the invisible enemy. That's a war, and it's a dangerous war. We're also at a level, when you said 40,000 people, and you're right, almost 40,000 people. And what, oh, more than, okay, good, correct me.
41,000.
Well, I'm really glad you corrected me, CNN. But here's the story. Let me just tell you something. If we didn't do what we did, the 40,000 right now could be 1 million people. Could be 1 million people, not 40,000. It could be 1 million. We're tracking at much less than the lowest possible estimate. And that's a great tribute to a number of people and a number of things. One of the things that it's a tribute to is what's taken place in this country with the American people. Because they've gone inside, they've done it. They've done a job that nobody thought was possible. And in fact, when they did the models, as they call them, nobody thought it was possible. They did models not based on this kind of success. I've seen New York streets, and I see it in the morning. I've watched all my life New York streets, and you can't even see the pavement. There's so many people. And you take a look this morning, you take a look, even on Friday morning, I looked at it, I saw it through a camera. There wasn't a person on Fifth Avenue, there wasn't a person on Madison Avenue. I've never seen anything like it, because people have really listened to instructions, and they've listened to what we've had to say, and the professionals, they've listened. And those people should really give them a lot of credit, including people like you, because you just don't have the sense to understand what's going on. All right. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Oh, so when Trump congratulates himself on a brilliant job, when he trots up administration officials for the express purpose of thanking him for his unrivaled leadership, when he plays campaign ads touting his incredible achievements during the outbreak, that's not for him, it's for doctors and nurses. Got it. This is CNN's Jeremy Diamond calling Trump out for making every day during these coronavirus press briefings a self-congratulatory campaign rally for the president. Now, I think it's beyond clear at this point that Trump has dropped the ball every step of the way. But if he hadn't, and again, he has, but even if he hadn't, this is clearly not the time for throwing yourself a parade. More than 40,000 Americans have lost their lives. That's 40,000 families, 40,000 neighbors, 40,000 friends. And yet we rarely, if ever, hear hear a single word of condolences from Trump, whereas we are subjected to literal hours per day of listening to the president rave about himself, and then occasionally calling his friends up to rave about him too. I mean, the guy has expressed more heartache for losing campaign rallies than he has for any of the tens of thousands of dead Americans. Now, Trump tries to claim that he has an obligation to praise himself, I mean the federal government as a whole, because news outlets like CNN have been excoriating them. Now, to be clear, no reputable news outlet has, quote, excoriated any public health official or scientist or nurse or doctor. They have, however, criticized Trump, which leads me to believe that either Trump doesn't know how to distinguish himself from other people, or that he just conveniently pretends that criticism of himself belongs to everyone. Of course, it doesn't, in that it belongs only to him, and for good reason. It was his unilateral decision to downplay the virus while those very public health experts that he just lumped himself together alongside were actually trying to warn the federal government. Trump was warned by Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar on January 18th. White House aides tried to warn then Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney on January 27th. Peter Navarro tried to warn the White House in a memo on January 29th. Azar called Trump again to warn him on January 30th. The World Health Organization declared the coronavirus a global health emergency on that same day. Senators warned the administration to take the virus more seriously and to request emergency funding on February 5th, which the administration failed to do. Health officials, in coordination with the National Security Council, tried another memo on February 14th. Navarro wrote yet another memo directly to Trump on February 23rd. And the director of the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases, Nancy Messonnier, publicly warned of the virus and said, quote, "We need to be preparing for significant disruption in our lives" on February 25th, which prompted Trump to call Azar fuming because her factual comments caused the market to drop. So when Trump claims that the media was excoriating these people, no, the media was echoing them, along with countless other doctors and public health experts and foreign countries, all of whom practically begged the Trump administration to start taking swift and serious action. Meanwhile, all we got were comments like these.
We have it totally under control.
How concerned are you?
Well, we pretty much shut it down.
You know, a lot of people think that goes away in April with the heat.
It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
You know, we have thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that get better just by, you know, sitting around and even going to work. Some of them go to work.
The fact is that this has always been a self-serving political exercise for Trump. Since the very beginning, when he refused to let a cruise ship with sick Americans aboard dock because he didn't want his numbers to go up, to putting his own name on federal stimulus checks, to bragging about being #1 on Facebook, to playing literal campaign ads during what are supposed to be coronavirus press briefings, this has always been about himself, his campaign, and his re-election. Only he doesn't have the common sense to realize that the way to have a crisis reflect well upon you is to succeed at it. That's why the approval ratings of governors, of public health experts, of doctors are through the roof, because they are doing the work, they are telling the truth, they are putting the time in, and they are helping save lives. Trump hasn't done any of that, the only difference being that he wants the praise as if he has.